On this channel, every now and then I speak a little bit about current events. I don't do it often though, and I really don't care for doing it often, to tell you the truth, because there's several reasons. A couple of days ago I considered briefly for a second making a video talking about this whole Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but I decided against it fairly quickly because, to be brutally honest, I don't care. I don't fucking care. I don't like either side. If I had to pick a side, I guess I would choose the lesser of two evils and probably choose the Palestinians, but honestly, I don't like either side. I could care less. Let's see, I get this level here. I could care less though. Don't like either side, and personally, I'd be fine with both sides just utterly destroying each other. But anyway, I haven't paid much attention to it. I've seen a lot of people in our circles talking about this. It's a pretty hot topic right now. But as I said, I don't give a shit. Don't care. Plus another reason I don't talk about current events is just it seems that so many people do it. I do every once in a while, but overall, try not to do it too often. This video is going to be a kind of a rambling one. There's going to be a few different things that I talk about. I'm going to try to keep it short because I'm wanting to go fishing here soon. I need to lift some weights. But since it's a rambling one, I hate to say it, it probably won't be that short. I don't watch the news. Don't care for it. Every now and then, I have to admit, I do watch Tucker Carlson. But I also view his show with quite a bit of skepticism in itself. I mean, after all, once you have this sort of worldview, this sort of political awakening, as I had a few years ago, you just start to see it for what it is. Here in America, the conservatives, they often talk about the propaganda that, left-wing media outlets such as CNN or your CBS, NBC, MSNBC, they talk about the propaganda that they put out, which is very true. Very true. A lot of the propaganda they put out is some of the most vile and disgusting propaganda, but it's also the most easy propaganda to see, it appears. But these same conservatives, they fail to see that there's propaganda in itself with the media companies that they watch, perhaps Fox, even though I wouldn't really consider Fox so much as right-wing anymore. Fox is definitely a Zionist creation, though. I mean, it's, and this sort of propaganda is, in a lot of ways, it's harder to pick up on, and it's more deceitful, and honestly, in a way, it's potentially more dangerous, as I see it. It's potentially more dangerous. Recently, in regards to this whole mess in the Mideast, I have what is it? Lost my train of thought. Give me a second. But I have noticed that it's a real flashpoint. People are divided against each other. On your one hand, we have our politicians up there in Washington. You have people like that Ocasio-Cortez woman who claims to be Jewish, claims to have a little bit of Jewish blood. You also have like the Rashida Tlaib's, I think her name, several others. They are talking about Palestinians and how their lives matter and how they're in the right, they're morally correct in this whole situation. And then on the right, you have people like Sean Hannity, Israel's our greatest ally, blah, blah, blah. This is an entire false dichotomy. You see, as I see it, in this purpose, the left wing, politicians like AOC woman, the ones I just mentioned, they're going on about Palestine and Palestinians. And I see this as a clever ruse of sorts. It's just a clever ruse because if any white conservative watching this sees these vile women going on about how the Palestinians are morally correct, naturally they're going to be corralled further into the Zionist camp. They'll see it as, and I mean, this is one of the things that I've heard. I'm changing gears here rather rapidly. One thing that I've always heard in my life, and I actually heard it just the other day when I was working. I heard it from an older gentleman, a kind gentleman, a gentleman that I like. Have to take things to his house sometimes. He's a good man, very good man. And he sees a lot of the problems of the world. He's afraid that our nation here in America is going to become, Mexican and Muslim, and that's a very valid concern. And we got to talking about these things for a few minutes, and he sees he's a white conservative guy. He's probably up in his mid-late 70s. Good feller, And we got to talking about this, and I mentioned the never-ending wars in the Mideast, and he brought up Israel. And he said that he kind of just shrugged off what I said about these never-ending wars. And he said that I think that Israel, they're God's people, and that we need to stand with them. I didn't disagree with the guy, though. It's not my place. I was working anyway. It's not my place. I respect my elders, even if I see that this man's a good man, and I'm not going to debate him about it, But there's so many people here in the South, here in Southern Appalachia. I've heard plenty of people growing up back home say this shit, too. That Israel and the Jews are God's chosen people, and that we should support them. Yeah. This is it's just a very dangerous lie, as I see it. And that's changing gears again. I apologize, but this is why I'm not into the whole, this is why I don't care for any of the Abrahamic faiths. I detest them. I don't care for any of them. None of them. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, as I see it, they're all just extensions of Judaism. They really are. The expansion through history of Islam and Christianity was just a way to bring the Arab and Turkic races into the Abrahamic fold, and for Christianity, it was just a way to bring the European races into the Abrahamic fold. And I don't care for any of these religions. A big reason is that, as I see it, if you consider yourself a true nationalist, you're aware of the certain group that has this certain small group that has so much influence in this world, that has a remarkable amount of influence to be such a small minority and a remarkable amount of power. If you engage in these Abrahamic religions, you are prone to being manipulated by them and by the people that these religions originated from. That's just how I see it. You can disagree with me, but I don't care. It's just how I see it. Even if you're aware of this group and you still claim to be Christian, you're still prone to being manipulated. It's just how I see it. And that's what's happened here in this area, where I see so many Christians who see a lot of things wrong with the world, a lot of white conservative Christians. They see what's wrong with the world. They see our nations being flooded with migrants, but they don't see what's truly behind it. And Zionism, this is one of those cases. Left-wing, right-wing, as we know it currently in the political situation here in the United States and these other Western nations, left wing and right wing, they try to claim superiority over the other, but in reality they're working together. They're wings of the same goose. We all know the noise that a goose makes, and they work together after all. I mean, a bird with one wing doesn't fly. So, yeah, and you see, you're just prone to being manipulated, and that's my final point that I'm going to touch on in this video. It's something that we could learn from our enemies. Here just a few minutes ago, and last night, I read this short paper. It was written by I believe he's a moderate Orthodox Jewish man named Yitzhak Blau. I think he had written this article back in the maybe in 2011, 2012. It was a short 14-page paper. And it was talking about the dangers of mass media, namely the television. You know something that I noticed long ago? A lot of people who are Orthodox Jews, they don't have a TV in their home. And a lot of them don't have internet either, although the internet, I'd argue, is more useful than a television, much more useful. But it's a double-edged sword. A lot of these, and as I did a little bit of further reading, apparently there's two branches of Orthodox Jews. There's the Haredim, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They're the ultra-Orthodox. They are seclusionist, isolationist. And they are much more likely not to have television or internet in their households compared to moderate Orthodox Jews, where they're a little more open to these to modernity, I guess you could say. But in this paper, it was actually a fairly interesting paper. I have to give the guy credit because he was talking about the dangers and how television is such a detriment in a lot of ways. And he advocates for, although he was a moderate Orthodox Jew, he said that they could learn, his fellow people who are also moderate Orthodox Jews could learn from the practice, the standard that the Haredim have in not having a television in their homes. And you know, he touches on a lot of different points in that paper about how television, it's just, it's very detrimental. It encourages people to have a passive role. It just encourages them to consume. They can't interact, not to mention all the time wasted, and how, unfortunately, in families, television is often a absentee babysitter, you could say, which that happens too with the internet, unfortunately. He touches on a lot of these topics. And at the core, though, at the very root of the whole matter, as I see it, these Orthodox Jews, these Haredim, and the Orthodox Jews that choose to not have a television in their home, they're 100% correct in doing so. It's something that we all could take a lesson from, to tell you the truth. And they know it's poison. They do. Sure, a lot of their own people, their own race, if you were to watch any show on television, you will see at least one Jewish name and when the credits roll at the end of it. Usually many more. And the media companies that broadcast these shows, we all know. We all know that. But their own people, these Orthodox Jews and Haredim, they know that what their own people is producing, and has such a hand in producing, is absolute poison. After all, you think about it, the assassin doesn't drink his own poison. So that's just a very interesting thing, I have to give them credit. That's a very, very intelligent way of viewing it. And that's how I view it. And as switching gears again, I apologize. Here recently, I know I was reading, but I had Tucker Carlson's show on in the background. And I've noticed this back when I watched his show more often around the election. Seems like they're talking on that show about UFO phenomena. About this and that, various things. It seems like once a week. They don't dedicate a huge segment to it, but you see it every so often. Myself, why are they doing this? Why is Tucker Carlson having this on his show? As I see it, I don't really believe in UFOs or aliens. I mean, I'm not very interested in that phenomena, to be honest. Do I know? No, of course not. I'm not saying that they exist. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just ain't very interested in it. Personally, myself, I think we're much more likely to see spirits or ghosts than we are an alien. But I know that sounds crazy in itself, but I have my own reasons for thinking this. I won't get into that now, but I think, and I know this is kind of a conspiracy theory type thought, I think they're conditioning people for some fake alien invasion. I think that's what they're doing. You know? Because the world is terribly divided right now. And what more strong of what better unifier could there be than some existential external threat that mankind is being faced with? I don't know. It's just some food for thought. I'm sorry this video has been terribly disjointed, but I'm going to quit rambling now. I'm going to get to doing some things. But I think that we all would benefit from not taking so much stock into current events, because if you pay attention to the news cycle too much, you're always reacting. You're always reacting. You're always feeling a certain way. And I think all news stories, whether it's presented from a conservative right-leaning angle or if it's presented from the typical left-leaning angle, it's meant to make you feel a certain way. A certain group feel a certain way. And you're just reacting. You're just in a cycle of reaction, when in reality we should be in a cycle, we should be proactive instead of being reactive. Get out there and live your life. Do things. There's a lot more productive things you can do than just engaging mindlessly over and over in a fucking news cycle. Live your life. Better yourself. Read a book. Reading a book is much more constructive. 100 times more constructive. I'm reading a very good book right now that I'm about to finish, and I've really enjoyed it. I don't read much during the summers. During spring, summer, parts of the fall. Usually I do most of my reading during the winter. But I'm going to try to do more reading because there's a lot of very interesting things to learn. You can learn it much better by reading, I think. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.